Welcome back, everyone. TD here. Today, we're diving into a practical contact form example. We'll be building the core entity, form, and controller step by step, keeping things clear and easy to follow. You might spot some Symfony UX elements popping up in the browser. That's just me experimenting behind the scenes. But before we get into that, let's tidy up our base templates to make everything cleaner and more manageable. All right, now that we've cleaned up the base template, leaving only the essential stimulus controller, our foundation is ready. The plan for today is to save the contact form submissions directly into our database. So first, let's create a new entity using Symfony's Maker Bundle. It's straightforward. We just follow the on-screen prompts to specify the entity name and the fields with their types. We're going to use string types for the name and email fields, text for the message, and we'll add a date-time immutable field to track when each submission was made. It's been a while since I used the Symfony Maker Bundle separately for creating entities and forms. I'm more used to running custom commands that generate everything in one go, quick and ready to use. That's actually part of why I started the Command Series 2025 on YouTube, to get back into that flow. And to illustrate just how easy Symfony makes things for you, well, you've got to start somewhere, even if it's with the small stuff first. As we go along in this series, we'll dive into custom commands too, tailor-made to fit your needs. This is what the finished contact entity looks like after using the make semicolon entity command. If I remember correctly, we haven't set up the database yet, so let's configure the .env file with our database connection details before running the migrations. Setting up the database is easy. Just specify the user, which in our case is root, Leave the password blank since there isn't one, and set the database name you want to use. Then in the terminal, run the command php bin / console space create :database to create it. Then in the terminal, run the command php bin / console space doctrine :database create. To avoid conflicts, we'll just comment out the other database URL or remove it, then we're good to go. Now let's create the migration for our new entity by running php bin console make :migration. Once that's ready, we can apply the migration to the database with php bin console doctrine :migrations :migrate. With our entity ready, the next step is to create the contact form. Symfony makes this easy. Just run the command php bin console make :form and follow the prompts to generate the form based on our contact entity. First, we give the form name, in this case contact message type, and then specify the entity contact message to use for the form. There we go, finger type, oops, not php /. It is php bin / console. And there we go. Symfony has generated a new form type for us, complete with all the basic fields already set up. This really speeds things up and keeps our code clean. Next, let's create a new controller specifically for our contact form. This will handle displaying the form, processing submissions, and saving the data, keeping everything organized and manageable. Now that Symfony has generated our new contact controller, all that's left is to add some basic logic so the controller knows which form to use and how to handle the submitted data when it's valid. First up, let's add the $request variable to the controller method so we can access the incoming form data and handle the user's submission properly. Next, we'll inject the Entity Manager interface so we can save the submitted contact data into our database. Now let's specify the entity we'll be working with by creating a new contact message variable to hold the form data. Next, we specify the form type to use by creating the $form variable and linking it to our contact form type. Now we let Symfony handle the request for the form so it can process any submitted data automatically. So now we need to add some logic to handle the data the form received. First, we'll specify what to do with the new submission's date and time. We're just going to specify it here since we use the date-time immutable in the entity, as we want to auto-generate the date-time when the form is submitted. No need to manually set all the fields. Symfony will handle that for us. We just need to persist the new contact entity and flush it to save the data into the database. Next, let's pass the form variable to our Twig template so we can render it in the browser. Great. Now that the form looks good in our controller, let's enhance our Twig template by adding some variables. First up, we'll add flash messages to notify users about the status of their submission. So here's how it works. The controller first renders the form for the user. Then, once the user fills it out and submits it, the controller takes over to validate all the input. If everything checks out, it sends a friendly success message back to let the user know their submission went through smoothly. While we're busy here, remember from the previous videos how important it is to add your translations as you work on the Twig template. So sit back and watch as I configure the template with those translations. Next, I'm going to add a for loop to display any success flash messages right here in the template. This way, users get clear feedback when their submission goes through. Almost forgot, we need to add the flash message in the controller just before returning the response. I'll also use the translation system for the message, so it's easy to support multiple languages. Don't forget to add the corresponding entry in your translation YAML file. Let's add some Bootstrap classes to style and alert attributes to our flash messages as alerts. This way, the user will get a clear, nicely formatted notification right on the page. Now let's add the form start and form end tags in our Twig template. This will automatically render all the fields defined in our form type. Later, we'll enhance it by adding Bootstrap classes to make it look clean and styled nicely. Before closing the form, let's include a nice, styled send button at the bottom to make submitting easy and clear for users. Translations do take a bit of extra time and effort up front, but they're definitely worth it as your project grows and expands, making your app accessible to a wider audience. Now let's test our new contact form in the browser. Remember to clear the Symfony cache first. As you can see, everything still looks a bit cramped. The trick to fixing this is to make good use of form row tags to space things out nicely. That's a good place to pause for today. We've built the core of our contact form and gotten it up and running. In the next episode, we'll clean up the layout using row tags and some bootstrap styling, and we'll tackle any of those love bugs that come up as we put our form to the test. See you then.